Hello, students. Welcome to the first session of biology, in which we are going to study about microorganisms, friend and foe. But before we begin with the session, what is biology? Biology is the science that studies life and living things. That includes plants, animals, and microorganisms. So, now moving ahead with our lesson, that is microorganisms, friend and foe. Now, as the name implies, microorganisms as a friend and foe. Now, you all have friends, yes? So, what do you think about your friends? They are quite helpful, yeah? They are your well wisher. So, same here, microorganisms are also our friends who are helpful in various ways and various fields, as well as the next is what, as microorganisms as foe. Foe means enemy. So both microorganisms are helpful as well as they are harmful also. So we are just going to see in this chapter. We can see several kinds of plants and animals living in various parts of the earth, yeah. But there are few living organisms around us which we cannot see through a naked eye. Okay, they are so minute that they require what microscope to be visualized. So these microscopic organisms are called as microorganisms or microbes. And the branch of biology which deals with the study of microorganism is called as microbiology. So what's the meaning of micro? Micro means which is very small, microscopically small, which cannot be seen through our unaided eye. And bio means living organism. Now the science, so which deals with the study of microorganisms is called as microbiology, as well as the scientists who study about microorganisms are called as microbiologists. So microorganisms can be, they can be unicellular, or that is single cell, or it can be made up of many cells, that is multicellular. And the first scientist who described about microorganisms was a Dutch scientist named Antony van Leeuwenhoek. So in the year 1674, he had observed a living cell, that was the bacteria, for the first time with the help of his microscope. Now, a very common example which you might have all observed, that when the bread is kept in a moist place, so it becomes what, unfit to eat, because a grayish white patches develop on it. So if it has been observed under microscope, there are black spots being seen, which is called as mold. So these are nothing but this is a type of fungi, and fungi are what, these are microorganisms or the microbes. Now let's move ahead. Where do the microorganisms live? What do you think? Do they live in a certain part of the earth? Okay, now let's find out. Now, do you know that microorganisms can survive, everywhere? They're present everywhere. And there are few microorganisms which live alone, but there are few which live in groups, like which are called as colonies. Now, they are found in every kind of environment, whether it is in soil, air, water bodies like seas, lakes, and ponds. They are also found in dead and decaying organisms and even inside our bodies. Do you know that? Now, one more interesting thing is that they can exist in, in extreme conditions also, like droughts, in hot springs, even in deserts, polar regions, as well as marshy lands. And what is that, special feature which helps in surviving in this extreme condition? They have an outer protective covering called as cyst. What is it called? It's called as the cyst. Okay. uh, I think till here it's quite clear to each and every one. Now let's see what are the major groups of microorganisms. The microorganisms have been further divided. It has been divided into five major groups. That is in bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi, and viruses. So in further slides, we are just going to study one by one in detail. The first one is bacteria. Okay, now bacteria are very small and they are the simplest living microorganisms. Okay, now they vary in shape, size, as well as their arrangement, and they are mostly single-celled organisms which are found almost everywhere. So the skin, the respiratory tract, and the gastrointestinal tract, these all are inhabited by a great variety of harmless bacteria called the normal flora. Do you know that? And they are quite helpful to us. Let's study the different shapes of bacteria. Now, you can see there are few names uh, of bacteria which is being given according to a peculiar shape possessed by them. So if the shape of bacteria is spherical, okay, they are round in shape. So biologically, what they are called as cocci. What they are called? Cocci. So now the cocci, they reproduce by dividing into two, and in this way the number increases. So if these bacteria, that is the cocci, if they form a single chain, okay, they form a chain like structure, they then they are called as streptococci. But if they form irregular groups or clusters, then they are termed as staphylococci. Now if the shape of the bacteria is rod shaped, what are they called? Bacilli. If they are spiral shaped, like they are coiled like structure, then they are termed as spirilla. And if the shape of the bacteria is like a comma shaped bacteria, they are called as vibrio. Okay, now the first now in the present slide you can see the picture of the cocci. Okay, cocci means how is the shape? It is spherical in shape. Okay, and how are they arranged? Are they arranged in a single chain? No, they are arranged in clusters. Okay, so such type of bacteria are called as staphylococci. Okay, now moving ahead. Now in this you can see the shape of the bacteria is what? It's rod like. Okay, so rod shaped bacteria called as what? Bacilli. Okay, now here the shape of the bacteria is more or less it's spiral shaped, spirally coil like structure. Okay, so this is an example of spirilla. And in the next one you can see the shape of the bacteria as it looks like a comma shaped, so hence termed as vibrio. Now in the next one we had seen that the next microorganism is algae. So algae are what? This is also another type of microorganism. It is a single-celled microorganism, okay, which can be quite small or it can be quite large enough, made up of large number of cells, which is quite visible. Example is what? Seaweed as well as kelp. These are found in the oceans. Now an algae, okay, like plants, they also have chlorophyll. Okay, so what happened? Due to the presence of chlorophyll, they can synthesize their own food, and because of the various pigments, their color may be yellow, green, brown, or red. Now algae can be found both in fresh water as well as in marine habitats. Okay, they are found in huge amount, and most algae do not produce human disease. They are harmful to us. And do you know this? What we learned here, this the seaweed. Okay, the seaweed which we learned, that is edible. Okay, the people are fond of eating the seaweed. They are not poisonous. Okay, there are few seaweed which are not poisonous, and they can be eaten. They are edible. Now, here in this diagram, can you see? What do you think? It's a picture of a pond, and this is quite clear to you. You might have seen this. That is when the water is stagnant, okay? When it is not moving, when it's not flowing, then a green patch-like structure is developed over the water surface. That is nothing but that's an example of an algae. The third microorganism is the protozoa. Now, what's the meaning of protozoa? Protozoan means the first animal. What does it mean? The first animal, and which are included in a separate kingdom Protista. Now, in a higher standard, you will be learning about the classification. Then you will be coming across this term. Now, Protista is what? These are like organism under this group. Um, the organisms which are neither plants, animals, or fungus are being kept. Okay, you just need to know now in this session. Now, protozoa consists of a large number of single-celled organisms. They are unicellular, and they are found in ponds, lakes, rivers, sea, and dam soil. Okay. Now, protozoan are either saprophytic. What do you mean by saprophytic? Saprophytic organisms are what? Those they feed on dead dead things. Okay, or parasitic. Parasitic means they live on other living organisms. They derive their nourishment from other living organisms. Now, the majority of protozoan do not cause diseases, but some live in host. As we had now only I told you that they are parasitic, means they are going to derive their nourishment from some other animal, so they live inside those hosts, and they do not cause any damage to them. Okay, but there are few number of protozoan which are responsible for intestinal infections for the humans, and some might invade. They may attack the blood, lungs, liver, or even brain. So at that time they are quite harmful. So a few examples of the protozoan are like here in this slide. You can see the picture of a paramecium, which you all are aware. Now the other examples of protozoan are amoeba, euglena, and trypanosoma. Okay, I'll just repeat it: amoeba, euglena, and trypanosoma. Okay. Now, the fourth microorganism is the fungi. What are fungi? Fungi are plants such as mushrooms, yeasts, and molds. And what they don't have chlorophyll. Okay, so can they synthesize their own food? No. So they are dependent on other organism. Okay, so fungi are also saprophytes, that is feeding on dead things, or some may be parasites, that is living on other living organisms. Okay, and they generally grow in dark, warm, and moist conditions. They also can be unicellular or multicellular. And few examples of fungi are, as you can see in this slide, is a picture of a mushroom. Or the other examples of fungi are the yeasts, mold, as well as penicillium. Okay, what are the other examples? Yeast, mold, and penicillium. Now, what is the last microorganism? That is the fifth one. Yes, These are the viruses. Now, the term virus means poisonous liquid. What does it mean? Poisonous liquid. And among all the microorganisms, viruses are the smallest. Okay, they are very small in size. So their size can range from 20 to 300 millimicrons, and they are acellular. What are they? They are acellular, means they do not have any substances present inside their cell. They only contain a small nuclear material, okay, which is wrapped in a protein coat, and this nuclear material can be either RNA or DNA. Now, the science, okay, which study about viruses is called as the virology. What is it called? It's called as the virology. And viruses are what? They are infectious agents that, despite their minute size, they are so minute, but still they are so harmful to us, and they causes various diseases, not only to humans but even to animals as well as plants. Now, new and increasingly destructive viruses are being discovered and have caused the creation of a special area within microbiology. And what is that area called? That's the virology, which I explained you just now. That is the field of biology in which the scientist studies about the viruses. That stream is called as virology. Now, viruses can live and multiply. When they can live and multiply, when they are inside an appropriate host cell, that is on which it can grow, and from which it can derive the nourishment and multiply in number. But when it is outside, means when it is present in the environment, they remain in a sleepy mode. That's the dormant mode. The hosts can be an human, animal, plant, or even bacteria. So viruses can even infect bacteria. Now, a virus invades a host cell where it replicates, means it produces its own copies, and then it destroys that cell. That's the cell of the host, and the viruses are released into the body, causing infections. In the present slide, you can see the diagram of a virus. Now, here the virus being shown is the influenza virus. Which virus? Influenza virus. And this virus causes influenza, that's the flu. Now, treating the viral diseases, that is the disease caused by viruses, how can it be treated? Now, viruses cause significant diseases in human. Can you recall or think over some diseases caused by viruses? Yeah, the very common is the common cold, flu, then smallpox, AIDS, Ebola, and there are many more. So, how these diseases can be cured? Now, the general antibiotics. So, first of all, what are antibiotics? Antibiotics are nothing but this is a medicine which are produced by the living organisms such as bacteria and fungi, and which kill or stop the growth of the disease causing microorganisms present in a body. So, in viral infections, antibiotics doesn't work at all. Okay, they cannot prevent, or they cannot help in decreasing, that's the curtailing the viral infections. And even though if there is any drug or medicine that might be effective to that, okay, but it, to a certain limit only, it can help the body to overcome. But the main role played here is by our immune system. So it's our immune system only that fights against the viral infection. So if our immune system are strong enough, we can overcome the viral infections, but not in all cases. It depends upon its severity. Now, in the present scenario, you all are aware that the whole world is fighting against which virus? That's the coronavirus. Yes. Yes, and which disease is being caused by this virus? That's the coronavirus disease or COVID-19. And on 11th Feb 2020, by ICTV, that's International Committee on Taxonomy of Virus, this virus, the coronavirus, was given an official name. And what was its name given? That was severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. That's the short form is SARS-CoV-2, as it infects the respiratory tract, and it's in a severe level. Now, and what is the basic like reason why the viral infections cannot be cured easily? Because the viruses are capable of mutation. So what's the meaning of mutation? Mutation means they can change their genetic material or the genetic code. They can change their structure according to the need. So as a result, it is very difficult to develop vaccine against the viruses. Okay, it's not so easy. It takes time. uh, and what is the genetic code or the genetic material present in them? It's the DNA or RNA. What's the full form of DNA? It's deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA is ribonucleic acid. I think till here it's quite clear to each and every one. If you have doubts, please mention in your notebook. When the school reopens, then we'll be discussing on those points. Keep on revising, and after this, that is in the next session, I'll be giving you few questions related to this video. Thank you.